Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel, where it is time for the Aston Villa versus Liverpool match preview. And as you can see, I am not alone. I am joined by a very special guest. It is Chris Ellis from the Villa Together podcast. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all very good. What about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Disappointing night for both of us because we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like we said, like we just kind of spoke about. It's disappointing to lose, but one that I'm not going to lose too much sleep over, to be honest.
Yeah, the Carabao Cup is one of those things that you just put to one side, and do you know what? Yeah, we both got knocked out, but we've got bigger fish to fry, and we'll see what happens. But let's talk about your start to the season, because it has start to the season. 4 goals scored, none conceded. You must be pretty pleased with your start to the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at the first 5 or 6 fixtures that we were given, in all fairness, these 2 games were the 2 that you'd looked at where you'd have hoped to have got the most points from, because our next few games, obviously, we've got yourselves, we've got Leicester, we've got Leeds, so all kind of tough games. But yeah, I mean, at the Sheffield United game, we were fairly comfortable. And the red card, in all fairness, it was kind of, again, one of the teams that you don't want to you don't want them to have a player sent off because they're hard to break down anyway.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to playing against 10 men, they're going to make it even harder. So it was an odd one, and obviously we had a lot of the game fairly comfortable, and we got the win in the end, which was very good. And then obviously the 3 points against Fulham, I think that for us was a kind of good game to have, and I suppose a good game to kind of gauge where we're at after a couple of games, because Fulham getting promoted, obviously they've kind of trying to build on what happened last time they were in the Premier League, and we have our away form in the Premier League is very poor. So to get that win, we weren't brilliant, but our kind of attacking play and the build up and the play for the goals was excellent, in all fairness. So there's certainly good signs, and I think most Villa fans will probably agree that there's probably an extra few gears that we can go up in. So yeah, it's all good. We've done what we need to. 2 wins from 2, so can't complain.
Yeah, it's so 100% record will probably be going on Sunday. Let's say a quick few hello to few people. Hello to Liam Talks Football. Hope you're doing well. Hello Chris Welsh as well. The Cop Council is in. Hello Connor. Go and subscribe to the Cop Council as well. And Chris says, I put Aston Villa to go down start of the season. Now I'm regretting that after recent signings and performances. One of those signings was Emi Martinez. Now, I have to say, I was very surprised that he left Arsenal. But to your credit, you guys got him. What have you made of him so far in his first 2 appearances?
He's almost one of those goalkeepers that has everything, and it's not a case that he's an all-rounder and he's okay at everything. He seems to almost be excellent or very, very good at everything. Distribution's brilliant. He's a very big guy, so coming out and claiming crosses and kind of commanding his area is good. And you can see, I mean, obviously he's only played 2 games, but from those 2 games, you can see that communication-wise as well, he seems to be confident. And I think we needed that, because we had a few issues last season with goalkeepers. Obviously, Tom Heaton's a very good goalkeeper. Pepe Reina, as you know, is a decent goalkeeper, but has his moments. So he's trying to find that balance. And I think what they did, to go out there and spend, on the face of it, 20 million on a goalkeeper that I think 9 Premier League appearances before he came to us, you think it's odd, but he was excellent for Arsenal, and so far he's looked brilliant. So I think most people will probably say that's our best signing of the window, and it looks to almost be the kind of one of the missing pieces that's going to kind of help the defence kind of stick together ultimately, and hopefully going forward that will be pretty solid. But yeah, I mean, he's obviously 2 clean sheets from 2, so it's all very good, yeah.
Absolutely. And also, you have signed Ross Barkley on loan. Now that took everyone by surprise because I don't think that anyone saw that coming. And I listened to your recent podcast where you were speaking, and then all of a sudden the Barkley news happened.
Yeah.
What do you make of that signing? Because that will add to your midfield already.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's an odd one. I was talking to someone else, and we were talking about something completely different. And he just sent me a message. So while we were recording the pod, I was looking. I read it on the screen. I was like, "Oh, that's new." But there was so one of the better local journalists said that we were after either Loftus-Cheek or Barkley from Chelsea. So we knew we were going to be after one of them. And in all fairness, I think most of us probably thought it would have been Loftus-Cheek because he'd been left out a lot of, I think, their last two squads. Chelsea, and obviously Barkley was on the bench in the Carabao Cup on Tuesday. And I just didn't expect. It didn't seem like there was any movement, but I think it's an excellent signing. I think I've had my, I don't want to say concerns, but I think there's sometimes Ross Barkley's played at a decent level, obviously Champions League, played for England, all sorts. He's obviously very, very talented. There's no question about it. I've always felt that there's potentially been something missing there, but to have a player as talented as him, and I think I was looking the other day, he will be our most experienced player in terms of Premier League experience. I think the person behind him will be El Mohammadi, which I think has got about 183 Premier League appearances, whereas Ross Barkley's got over 200. So adding that experience is going to be good. And I think, as I said, I did on the pod that I put out yesterday, I think he'll just slot in nicely. He's the kind of type of player that we need and we're missing. Obviously, Jack Grealish being our best player, our most creative player, with him playing on the left, I think it kind of, even though he kind of, Jack Grealish moves everywhere, comes inside, drifts out wide, etc. Having Ross Barkley, I think, almost covers both bases, centrally and out wide. I think that's the most exciting thing. Ross Barkley, Jack Grealish, the link up, I think, can be very, very good. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a good one, and you got to look at it on the face of it. He's a guy that was playing Champions League football last season, playing for Chelsea, a team that challenging at the right end of the table. So to have come to Aston Villa, who just avoided relegation last season, obviously speaks volumes about the kind of direction we're going in. So excellent signing.
As a cracking signing, you've made two other good signings in Matty Cash and Ollie Watkins from Championship, Nottingham Forest and Brentford, respectively. What have you made of their impact so far?
The Matty Cash one, I think, took a lot of fans by surprise because we've already got two right backs. El Mohammadi, I mentioned. We've got a guy, Frederick Gilbert, who's a right back that we signed. We actually signed when we were in the Championship, but he went back on loan to the club that we signed him from. So it was his first season with us last year. And in all fairness, he's quite a well-rounded player, fairly quick, gets stuck in, gets up and down. But defensively, he's got a few issues. So I think because Gilbert is one of them that gets, I suppose, kind of wears his heart on his sleeve. A lot of players like him and a lot of fans like him. But Matty Cash made sense because Gilbert is possibly a bit of a weak link in the team. But, I mean, he was excellent against Fulham. Matty Cash was. The two games, Sheffield United and Fulham, both very, very different, clear contrast. Sheffield United, we had more of the ball. Yeah. So Cash had a lot of the ball, getting up and down, whipping crosses in, which I don't think a lot of people knew was part of his game. He's put some very good crosses in. And against Fulham, because Fulham, we were the away side, Fulham had more of the ball. Yeah. So Matty Cash had a lot of opportunities where he was 1v1 up against their attacking players. And he dealt with them brilliantly. He was, for a lot of people, the podcast we recorded last week after the game, I think 2 out of 3 of us on the podcast said that he was our man of the match. So he speaks volumes. And then Ollie Watkins, obviously, a lot of people knew of him from last season because he was second top goal scorer in the Championship, 25 goals, not including the playoffs. And, he's done well in pre-season and in the cup games so far. In the league, in particular against Fulham, he looks excellent. Similar to what I said about Barkley, the kind of Barkley Grealish combination. It looks like Watkins Grealish. There could be a good link up there, and I think it was the second goal that was scored against Fulham. It was a Watkins Grealish link up that got it into the box for Harry to score. So it's good. I've been saying for a while that that Villa need a striker who's kind of got a bit of everything. So Watkins is quick, and his hold-up play is not too bad either. So and as well, he works hard. So I think he kind of ticks all those boxes in what we need. So yeah, I mean, I've been impressed with them in the 2 games they've played so far, definitely.
Yeah, I think Watkins, as you say, he was one of the bright sparks for Brentford last season, and I think he's going to be one for Aston Villa for sure. And another striker you've signed is Bertrand Traore. What do you make of that signing?
It was an odd one because it kind of came out of the blue that we were linked with him, and the next thing you know, deal was agreed, and he was here. I think a lot of the other signings, in particular Watkins, Martinez, I mean Cash as well, they kind of took maybe a week or a bit longer. I mean, I think Watkins, in all fairness, took about a month, but I think that was mainly Brentford trying to get a replacement. But yeah, interesting one. I think obviously one of the things you do when you sign a player is look at YouTube and kind of look at things like that. Obviously, I remember him from his Chelsea days. Not that I can remember how he played and what he was like. Watching him on YouTube, he seems like one of those players, in all fairness, that I felt we were missing. So the likes of a kind of Saint-Maximin from Newcastle, he's a very good player. He's quick. He's good on the ball. But there's that unpredictability about him that sometimes it seems like he doesn't even know what he's going to do, and it's hard to defend against. And it's that little bit of magic sometimes you can get, and it seems like that Bertrand Traore has got that. He played very, very well in a cup game against Brentford last week. Scored right-footed volley, very good goal. He played last night as well. Didn't have a great game, but I think, in all fairness, the whole team performed poorly, so it's hard for him to kind of get into it. He wasn't particularly great, but he wasn't the only one. He just seems to, I think, based off the players that we had last season, he seems to maybe be an extra level ahead. So again, a player that will link with Grealish, obviously Barkley, John McGinn. Just seems to be a next step up for Aston Villa. And I think his pace he's obviously a very, very quick player. His pace is something that we were really lacking. So it's another exciting one. Not a lot to go off, but yeah, exciting nonetheless.
And I suppose your biggest signing was keeping Jack Grealish at the club. We've got a question on Grealish. Do you think Grealish will stay at Villa for the rest of his career as he's a Villa boy, or do you see him playing for a big 6 club eventually?
Tough one. I think, he's 25 now, and I suppose he's kind of coming to his peak years. I think 2 things played a big part in him signing a contract. I think the first one was possibly him getting in the England squad. So he probably thought, I don't need to move to get into the England squad. Whereas beforehand, that might have crept into his mind, not getting in any squads when he played pretty well for a poor side. You might have thought, is it because I play for Aston Villa? And I think the second one was that the board must have said to him, Jack, this is what we're going to do. These are our plans. And obviously with the signings we've made, we've shown that ambition in the market. It's a 5-year contract. Obviously that's to, in the long term, to protect ourselves as a club, to ensure that we get the best value for him going forward. But it's just one of them. I think looking at it, he signed a 5-year contract. He's the kind of guy that, I've got no doubts that he would honour that.
Yeah.
If a big bid came in all fairness, I'd have expected it this season when he's come off the back of a poor season for our club. We just, successful because we didn't go down, but we just avoided relegation. And obviously he was our best player. So that was good for him. And I think this was the best time for him to move. And because he hasn't done, I'm quite confident that he will do, because I think he will probably be able to achieve his goals of playing for England. I think that's what he wants to do in the long term. He's a big Villa fan, so he's happy captaining and playing for Aston Villa.
Yeah, he's a cracking player, and we all know about the Grealish and Maddison, comparisons, which I honestly don't get because they're two completely different players.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to Seamus. This is a good question. Liz Golden, afternoon, Liz. Hope you're doing well. Chris, where do you think Villa will finish on the table this year?
Well, this is something I've spoken to with a lot of people. The consensus seems to be around 12th to 15th, maybe. And someone put me on the spot yesterday. I asked the same question, and I said 12th. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to stick with 12th place.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I think the signings that you've made, looking at other teams like Fulham are really, really struggling. West Brom are really, really struggling. So I think looking at the Villa squad, I think you've got enough to stay up. Let's look ahead to the game. Last season, the 2-1 game, you took the lead really early on in that game. We had to score with 2 late goals. What did you make of that game? Did you think that was a game where you go away from that thinking that you could have won?
Yeah, definitely. It was a game I came away from. I just couldn't believe what had happened. I think 87 minutes played, we were 1-0 up. But then we ended up losing the game 2-1. It wasn't a case of just coming away with a point. Obviously, it was it would have been your typical kind of smash and grab, I suppose. Liverpool had most of the possession. We played okay in parts. I think there was a couple of chances that we had that, obviously in hindsight, we needed to put them away to get 3 points. But obviously, apart from, I think the goals we conceded were, they were decent, fair enough. They were decent goals from Liverpool's point of view. But I think defensively for us, there's I think the first goal, Robertson scored the equaliser. We should have been dealing with a cross from the left better. And then the Mane's header wasn't the winner. That was one that, it comes from a corner. We've got to be dealing with that better. But I think that game kind of epitomised what Liverpool were like last season. There was a lot of games where Liverpool were possibly against the ropes and came away with 3 points. So it's a tough one to take. I think it was one of those games that we needed a bit more experience. But I think the performance on the whole against Liverpool wasn't terrible. But yeah, it was one of them that it was sickening. It was sickening to come away, okay, when you thought you might get at least a point to getting nothing.
I know, and the Anfield game, you played really, really well, and you lost 2-0. But I think the consensus I saw from Villa fans that day was, we lost the game, but we actually managed to contain Liverpool for a long, long time.
That was, it was I think you look back at the 2 performances against Liverpool last season. Liverpool clearly the best team in the league, and we played reasonably well. The away game, again, there was chances that we had and decent chances that we had. That it was one of them against the big boys. You need to take those chances if you're going to get anything off them, and we didn't do it. And ultimately we ended up losing. But it was 2 decent performances. So I mean, hopefully they'll kind of take a bit of that spirit into the game on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracking game on Sunday. And as I've said, Liverpool Aston Villa games in the past have been very, very good games. So I expect a really, really good game for sure. So Liverpool have won 96 of 196, drawn 40, and Aston Villa won 58. At Villa Park, it's a little bit different. Villa have won 38, Liverpool won 33, and there's been 21 draws. So it's going to be very, very interesting game for sure. Where do you see how do you see the midfield battle happening on the weekend? Do you think that the midfield battle is going to be very interesting? With you guys, but obviously having Barkley, McGinn, Douglas Luiz in there.
I think he'll probably start with what we had against Fulham and bring Barkley on. I think most Villa fans would like to see Barkley come straight in because he's a better player than Conor Hourihane. But yeah, it's going to. I think that's where the game could potentially be won. I think when we played you, certainly when at Anfield, Douglas Luiz had a very good game in the midfield. John McGinn, obviously, he was out injured for a big part of last season, so he's coming back into it. So hopefully those two can have a big impact. And then what will be good for us is that we didn't really have at all last season, is bringing someone off the bench who could make a difference. And with Ross Barkley, that we've got a player that could do that. So that certainly helps us. Obviously, it's a case of being able to contain your fullbacks and your guys up top. So it's going to be a tough one for us.
It certainly is. But I have to say that I think Aston Villa are defending a lot better than they did last season. With Mings and Hosa, who I believe will miss the game at the weekend, because I believe he picked up an injury last night. And I've got my wee notes that Engels will miss the game as well, and Tom Heaton as well, and Wesley are long-term doubts, long-term injuries as well. So, so what would be your starting 11 for the game on Sunday?
So you got Martinez in goal. You have back four, Matty Cash right back, Ezri Konsa, Tyrone Mings centre backs, Target left back, Douglas Luiz in front of the back four. I'd start Barkley and McGinn. I'm confident that Smith will go Halrahan and McGinn, and then Trezeguet on the right, Grealish on the left, with Watkins through the middle. Obviously, we've got Bertrand Traore. He's probably pushing for a start, in all fairness, but Trezeguet's done quite well. He started the season well, ended last season well. So he's going to be another good player that we can bring off the bench. Yeah,
definitely. Right, guys, I've got my team selection just going up across the bottom of your screen, as you can see. So there's my predicted lineup. So it's Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Keita, Mane, Salah, Firmino, which I think is probably going to be the team that plays Aston Villa on Sunday. It's a weird kickoff time, isn't it? 7:15.
Yeah.
I know. I guess us into the international break as well. But Jack Grealish has made the England squad as well, which is a very, very good thing to see. Mings, is he in the England squad as well?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great to see Aston Villa players getting into the England squad as well. So let's talk a wee bit about Liverpool, because it has to be said that 3 wins from 3 against really, really tough opponents. Do you think Liverpool are the team to beat this season with what we saw with Manchester City against Leicester City last week?
Yeah, I think you look at the last 2 seasons. Obviously, Liverpool won the league last season, second the season before, but over the last 2 seasons, they have by far been the best team in the league. They kind of, I suppose, the easiest term to use is they slacked off a bit after winning the league last season. They were still obviously winning games, etc., doing well, but I think slacked off slightly. But again, they've got that. It's a tightly knit unit. Everyone knows their jobs. Obviously, you've seen it. Klopp will get players in, and they won't necessarily come straight into the squad. So a lot of players have had to take time settling in and getting them into the system. So obviously, that system that he's got, everyone's playing to almost the top of their capacity, and it's such a hard system to play against. The high pressing fullbacks. That those guys up top, the 3 of them. They're unbelievable. It's kind of, you keep Salah quiet. It's what about Mane, Firmino, etc. And it's how often out of those front 3 are you going to get all of them not playing well? It never happens, does it? Really, you'll get Salah against Leeds pops up with some brilliant goals, etc. So yeah, for me, certainly the best team in the league still. I think it was one of them. Obviously, coming into this season, people would have said, well, Liverpool need to make some signings. But again, you kind of think, well, who are they going to sign? Because where do they fit in? And I know Thiago's not going to play on Sunday, but he's an excellent, excellent player. Rated him for years. And obviously, Diogo Jota is a good player. He's been one of Wolves' best players for the last couple of seasons. So, I suppose similar to kind of what I mentioned about Villa having the options off the bench. It just improves Liverpool's options off the bench, doesn't it? Really,
yeah.
With them, so but yeah, certainly Liverpool the ones to beat again.
Well, it's very nice of you to say that, because I ask a lot of opposition fans, and everyone would say City as well. But yeah, I just think with the way that Liverpool have started the season, they are looking like the team to beat. But I have to say, I've been very impressed with Aston Villa, and we must be wary of Jack Grealish, because I think Jack Grealish is your danger man for sure, and Ollie Watkins as well. So I've got to get you a prediction for the game. What are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I've just got to be realistic. I think we'll battle well, and it'll be a tough game, but I think Liverpool will just about come on top.
Interestingly enough, I had 3-1. I think you will score. I'm actually going to say this. I think you will score first.
Yeah.
I think you will score first again, because you have a habit of scoring first against us recently. So I think you will score first. I'll go for Grealish to score for you guys, because he has a very, very good record against us, and he likes a goal against the top clubs. And for us, I'll go for Andy Robertson to score again, because he had one against Arsenal last week. And I'll go for Mane, and I think Firmino deserves a goal. So I'm going to go for Firmino and Mane to get the others. But it's going to be a cracking game. We'll be in our we'll be in our wee turquoisey teal kit at the weekend. So that'll be the first time you'll be able to see it. But yeah, I'm not sure about it, to be honest with you. But Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the channel. Tell us a little bit about Villa Together. I've actually subscribed to your channel, and the links are all in the description below as well. So tell us a little bit about Villa Together.
So obviously the idea about it initially was so the guy who runs it with me is a lad called Ian. I've known him a number of years. Obviously he's a big Villa fan. The idea is just to kind of talk about Aston Villa. You know what it's like, talking about your team that you support. It's kind of something you love doing. So obviously we'll do like a post-match podcast, which we call the Full 90. We do a Terrace Talk podcast, which is we'll talk about transfers or rumours or news. And also another thing that we've been doing is, which is kind of an idea behind the name. It's kind of, I haven't really given it, I call it the Around the World podcast. So I've spoken to so far around 10 different fans from around the world. And the idea is to bring Villa together around the world. So I've spoken to fans from America, Norway, Iraq, South Africa, Ghana, Ireland, a few other places, and I've got a few more lined up as well. And it's just to kind of, I suppose, raise the awareness of how amazing our club is, and about those guys who are out there around the world supporting Aston Villa. And I think just to kind of a bit of networking between the UK fan base and all the fans around the world. So I suppose those are the kind of the main things as well. And what we try and offer is good content for the fans to look at. So we had an interview with Sean Teal, who was a 1994 League Cup winner of Aston Villa. I think we did that 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we've got others lined up, other Aston Villa fans, so I suppose celebrity fans and ex-Aston Villa players we've got lined up. So it's kind of, I suppose we're attacking it at all different angles, kind of being current, also being nostalgic to look back at other players, and also the kind of bringing people together side of things. So that's the idea, and it's been very interesting, and it's been. It's like talking about football. It's brilliant, and obviously speaking to fans around the world, it's amazing, especially the guys who aren't British, who just somehow end up growing up supporting Aston Villa. The stories behind that. So when that comes out, I think that'll be interesting for everyone to see, because I'm going to do a compilation podcast showing everyone I've spoken to with the same kind of questions: how they became to support Aston Villa, their best memories, what they do on match days and things like that. And it's just really interesting talking to those kind of guys.
Yeah, definitely, guys. If you want to have your questions answered, then leave them in the chat below. I've just seen one question actually. Genie in Liverpool. Actually, Chris Welsh has just said, "Great preview as always. Brilliant Villa to have on too." Yes, I've really enjoyed this. Genie in Liverpool. Why did Villa let Samatta go?
It just wasn't good enough. End of the day, he came in with a decent goal scoring record from Belgium. I think he was the second top scorer, not last season, season before, and we tried to play to his strengths, which apparently he's supposed to be pretty good in the air. I mean, he scored against Liverpool in the Champions League. He just wasn't good enough. I think he got 2 goals overall in 14 appearances. I think maybe more. It just wasn't good enough for us. So I think it was a case of, because there was interest in him, and obviously we were looking to bring in another striker, he was the one that we would get rid of because we could sell him, so to speak. But he wasn't good enough, and we got a reasonable fee for him. I think we probably ended up losing 2 or 3 million euros within 6 months, which isn't terrible. It's like in the football market, usually you buy a player and they can end up going for free in a couple of years. So yeah, that's why he went in a nutshell.
Yeah, I remember him scoring in, was it the Carabao Cup final?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him scoring in that game, and I was like, okay, this is where he's going to start to become a very good player. But it just didn't really happen for him as well. But yeah, I have to say, when I saw he was signed for Fenerbahce, I was really surprised. But then I was like, okay, Villa have got Wesley, they've got Watkins, the Bertrand Traore. He's not gonna get his game, unfortunately. So, but to be fair, I think you got good money for sure. So Klopp says, top Villa channel in the making. I see you guys hitting new heights soon. So there you go. There you go. Yeah. So Chris, massive thank you for coming onto my channel. Where can we find you on your socials?
So we're on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter's the main one that we're on, just because interacting with fans all the time. Both of them are at Villa Together. Obviously, we're on YouTube, which is Villa Together. And then there's a link on our Twitter page for all the platforms that our podcasts are on, such as iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and there's a few others on there as well. So have a look at that.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I have left Chris and the Villa Together in the description below. Go and check them out. Really, really good podcast. I've listened to a couple of them, and I've been very, very impressed. So please go over and give them a follow on Twitter. Go give them a subscribe on YouTube. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. Last game before the international break. Yes, guys, the dreaded international break. I know we all hate the international break, but it has to happen as well. But thank you very much for watching. If you are new around here, then please hit that subscribe button. Smash a like on this video. Go and check out Villa Together as well. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. I will wish you the best of luck. I will wish you the best of luck for not Sunday, but for the rest of the season. But thank you very much, and I'll see you later, everybody, and we'll see you later. Take care.